The other is Sultan Salman Al Saud, who's a Saudi prince, a 28-year-old Saudi prince.
On that day in June 1985, His Royal Highness Prince Sultan bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud of Saudi Arabia became the first Arab, the first Muslim, and the first member of a royal family to fly into space. And His Royal Highness is now the president of the Saudi Commission for Tourism and Antiquities, and he's with us on the line now from Spain, where he is traveling. Your Royal Highness, thank you so much for speaking with us. It's our great pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.
As we mentioned, you were the first Arab, first Muslim, and the first member of a royal family to fly into space. Of those three things, which was the most significant to you?
Well, the flight itself, in fact, I wasn't paying attention too much to the titles, but that added an extra responsibility, especially the part about representing this part of the world, the Arab world and the Islamic world. And that basically was the most significant part.
You have an interesting background. You have multiple qualifications. You're not only a pilot, you also have a master's in social and political science. Why did you want to make this trip?
Well, I was those days working at the information ministry in Saudi Arabia, and they were recruiting for a mission that was offered by NASA. NASA was competing those days, I imagine, with the European Space Agency. One of the ways to get more satellites to fly on the space shuttle was to offer a seat, let's say, payload specialist seat on the shuttle. So it was very interesting for many countries, Mexico, India, Japan, and many other countries. Saudi Arabia was chosen because it was a founding member of the Arab Satellite Organization, which is basically a multi-government organization that launches satellites and still does. They wanted to recruit from both the military and civilian population in Saudi, and 20 of us were basically asked to join. To me, it was really those days a far-fetched idea, if you like. I was pretty much enjoying, like I am now, enjoying the flying part and, making that into a central part of my life. But, sometimes fate basically directs things in a direction that you never imagined, and it was a tremendous opportunity.
One of the aspects of space travel that I think people find fascinating is how astronauts cope with the routines of daily life, be it eating or brushing their teeth. And traditionally, Muslims are required to pray 5 times a day. How did you address this responsibility while in space?
Very easily, because we have been acclimated, whether from a religious point of view or whether from just a personal point of view. I myself have grown up in the central part of Arabia, and we are surrounded by great deserts, and of course, I'm a diver also at the same time, and I'm a flyer and I'm a glider pilot. And doing all these things at the same time, they become natural when you work on them and practice them. We never really saw Islam or religious duties as being something out of the ordinary. I remember, whether we're flying or in different places, as a Muslim, you can pray anytime, you can face any direction, like in the space shuttle, we can't really face to Mecca, although we're flying east, because we're flying at such a great speed. Like I said, those days, by the time you face Mecca, you probably already passed it. So in fact, also...
So what did you do? Just stop? Or how did you manage? You couldn't have a rug, I presume. You couldn't have a prayer rug.
No rug. No magic flying rug.
No.
But, I had to strap my feet so I can kneel. You can't kneel fully because lack of gravity, actually. But, I prayed like a traveler. As travelers, we pray 3 times a day, not 5 times a day. And I prayed according to Florida time when we launched. And in fact, it was the end of the fasting month, which is approaching now, as you know, in about 3 weeks. And we did fast the whole month of Ramadan in Houston on the Clear Lake. And we, in fact, NASA people were very kind enough to say if we wanted to adjust our program to start a bit later, we said we'll start exactly the same time we started every day, which is about 6:30 or 7 in the morning. It was hot in the summer those days, like these days, and we went on through the day and had no more than 5 or 6 hours sleep, and we were never the healthiest. So the last day of the mission was actually the last day of Ramadan also. So I also was the first person to fast a day of the month of Ramadan in space.
Okay. Yesterday, as I mentioned, we spoke with Dr. Bernard Harris, who on his second mission became the first African-American to walk in space. But he also talked to us about being part of the space shuttle mission to Russia's Mir space station. And he talked about the importance of that international collaboration in space. I want to just ask if you had some thoughts about that.
Definitely. I think space is a unifier in science and technology. And when people join venture in doing good things, it's always a good thing for planet Earth and people of the planet Earth. I believe that we were actually hoping after a space mission, we had those talks being already advanced to fly somebody every 2 years, a 10-year program, 5 missions to the space station, and put more scientists. We were that enthusiastic. But, the Challenger accident came and sort of derailed things a little bit. When I met with late President Reagan in the end of '85, he was very enthusiastic about continuing to joint venture on science and technology. And we have made great strides in Saudi in the areas of science and technology and knowledge building for the young generations. I think that humans need to find more and more things that unite them, and doing things together like these are very important to continue.
You know what I forgot to ask you? Was it fun?
Oh, what do you expect me to say?
I don't know. I've never been there.
Well, I'll tell you, the question that people ask me, was it scary? And I tell people that I was just having so much fun, I forgot what scary was. and, I was young enough and maybe not so wise that all I was thinking about is the experience. I imagine every single person that's flown in space would tell you there was not a scary moment in that whole episode.
His Royal Highness Prince Sultan bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud was a payload specialist on STS-51G, a flight of the Space Shuttle Discovery. In June of 1985, we caught up with him in Spain.